everybody, welcome to Cinema Trailer News. My name is Chris, and this will be my spoiler review for the season finale of The Last of Us. So we can finally talk about the finale. Fans of the games have been waiting for this moment, and we can discuss whether or not Joe was in the right. And another point of discussion would be whether this episode was too damn short. I think it was, and we'll talk about that too. But I think obviously the focal point is: did you agree what Joe did or not? And I do. I don't think emotionally Joe did anything wrong. I mean, it was an idea, I will admit that, but I think he did the best that he can in the time restraints and other restraints that he had. If Marlene was sure that Ellie was willing to die to maybe create a cure that the things he thinks, are you kidding me with that? Then maybe Marlene should have asked Ellie, and quite frankly, that's how I would say it to her if I was Joe. But Joe was emotionally shattered at that moment. But I would have been like, then what do you ask her, Marlene? And quite frankly, that surgeon and Marlene were, let's just say, they should have let Joe go. He didn't hurt those nurses, and that surgeon, though, oh, that's gonna come back and hurt Joe. Oh, they kind of telegraphed that a little bit. Well, at least a knowing wink to the fans with that shot. But yes, we're starting to shift into part 2 of this story, which heavily divided the fans of the game. Also, this ending of part 1 is kind of the starter that divide scene journey, because here was the first point where people are like, what? So again, which side are you on? I'm very curious to hear that down in the comments below. And I'm Team Joe, and I don't understand why he had to lie to Ellie about what he did. When she woke up in the back of the truck, I would have been like, guess what? They were trying to kill you. Like, you welcome. Like, I don't know why he probably had to lie, quite frankly. Would Elliot have been willing to sacrifice herself for the cure, if asked? That's a tough one. Largely because right after her encounter with David, clearly not the best time to ask her. She's still emotionally reeling from that incident, so give her time. And also, she talked about so many times with Joe about the farm and going and do different things and going wherever they want to do. So that's make it hard. And let's be honest, Marlene would I have waited. And Marlene really pushes everybody here, and I blame Marlene. So anyway, Joe's reviews to try and like reach out to Ellie because she's put in this emotional war up, and he reveals that after Sarah was killed, he wanted to go, and he was like everybody else on this show. He had enough. He was like, I don't want to be here by myself. At least he thought it did, because some part of him flinched when he pulled that trigger. But the reveal is that he's the guy who shot and missed. He gave himself that scar, which I don't really feel we have ever seen. I mean, the most I remember is that he can hear very well on one side, and it's kind of only being used once or twice, but that's all because of what he tried to do to himself. But Joe says that with time, he's like, you'll find something new to live for. As I did, he's talking, of course, about Ellie, and he's confident that she'll find something new. And he's not wrong, but at that moment, I think it seems that to Ellie impossible as sure as it would anyone try to talk to Joe right after what happened to Sarah. To me, this feels like manufacturing drama again to vilifying Joe, which I don't appreciate. He seems like a completely different person, which I think it was intentional because he's he's dealing with trauma. He's never been this way, even with Sarah. He seems a little unhinged, no longer in control, and I don't like that either. I think he should have owned that decision that he made. He didn't lose his mind. He didn't went out of control. I think he made a decision. I think it's one of the things that Ellie and Miles enjoy, and many of us do, is that element of control. Of course, everyone has like moments of weakness, and I guess you can say that this is supposed to be one of them. But then, don't that didn't really sold me on that. And you feel it was like a narrative tool used by the creators to create this conundrum to divide fans and ethical questions, and there's a desperation not only they changed him, but I think it changed his relationship with Ellie. Because even when Joe and Ellie are heading back to the camera compound, and after it's all said and done, he started talking about Sarah, compelling Ellie to Sarah, and never do that. Like, I'm glad he feels that he can talk about it, but it's just a flow of emotions coming out of him. And I think from Ellie's perspective, I think it really makes it seem like she's competing with a ghost that she can never measure up to. And like, Joe, what are you doing? I think it makes Ellie feel that perhaps she never had a relationship with Joe that existed on his own. Maybe at that moment, Ellie is like, I always just been a substitute to Sarah. I think Ellie asked to swear Joe to swear on what happens to the Fireflies because she needs reassure in her own life. Because I think in that moment she feels she's only existing in the memory of Joe. She's competing with the ghost of Sarah. So Ellie is like, let's bring it back to my life and what happened to me, because in that moment Joe is not only acting weird, I think because he's so focused on Sarah, I think it makes Ellie call the whole relationship into question. And Ellie probably in that moment has never felt more alone. This is also a conversation where she refers to Riley and tells Joe finally what happened between them, and that was her first kill. And how tragic is that?
Much further now.
Just a little bit further now.
Hey, wait. Back in Kansas City, you asked me about the first time I killed someone.
Back in Boston? Back when I was bitten? I wasn't alone.
When I got bit in the mall, I wasn't on my own. My best friend was there.
My best friend was there.
And she got bit too.
And she got bit too.
We didn't know what to do, and she says, we can just wait it out, be all poetic, and just lose our minds together.
We didn't know what to do. So... she says... let's just wait it out. You know, we can be all poetic and just lose our minds together.
And then she did. And I had to.
I'm still waiting for my turn.
Ellie.
Her name was Riley, and she was the first to die.
Her name was Riley. And she was the first to die.
And then it was Tess. And then Sam.
And then it was Tess. And then Sam.
That's not on you.
I know it.
None of that is on you.
You don't understand.
I struggled for a long time with surviving.
But if you just keep going, you find something new to fight for. And maybe that's not what you
Swear
want.
to me.
And you... no matter what, you keep finding something to fight for. Now, I know...
This ending of the season is also like the ending of the game, very conversational. Even the final line of okay is from the game, so fans of the game will like this quite a bit. Now back to the season finale. What do you think of the length of the episode? I know it's going to annoy some people, but I think it could have done much better with 10 to 15, even 20 minutes more. But it's each all have gone into the making of the hospital siege better because it was short, and I think the reason they made that creative choice is to mute the sequences is because they wanted to verify Joe, and they should just make out your own mind as to whether or not you think he did the right thing. But I think they were kind of telegraphing that you should feel he was wrong, and I'm like, he's not wrong, and the music choice was not great. And I didn't like the cinematography choices, cutting too many times to Joe's boots. I mean, what's up with that? And I think it took a lot of the energy and horror of that sequence. I think the Fireflies have been depicted as so incompetent and unlikable at this point. I don't think anybody watching was like, no, not the Fireflies. My thoughts was like, these guys are just a bunch of idiots right to the very end. Marlene even admitted in episode 1 that the Fireflies don't know what they were doing. She was a failure to the very end, and she bungled the whole situation, created a panic, and this mostly has consequences. Now, I who have played up the horror of Joe having to make that decision that he made, I think he could have wanted to be a different person and not to be Dot Joe, but only Dot Joe could save them at that moment. And we'll have at least maybe try to explore that a little bit, at least made it more exciting sequences. Like if you're going to do the hospital siege, do the hospital siege. Especially so iconic from the game, it should come across as an iconic cinematic sequences. If you didn't play the game, you have no idea that was the sequence of the entire game. That right? In here it seems like more like an afterthought. And while the OG last week we meet the OG joke with Troy Baker, this week we meet the OG Ellie with Ashley Johnson, who I thought did a fabulous job. Although to be fair, she had much a better role than Troy Baker did. She was so good. She looks like so much like Bear Ramsey. She really does look like her mom, and you just fell with these amazing shots into her eyes, like you were looking into her soul. I felt really connected with her, and I thought it was great that, and it helped. I think that she played a shadow of Ellie, the character that she originated, and so that was cool. And that she got those few hours with her daughter, and I thought that was both heartbreaking and very sweet. And we learned that Elliot got her knife from her mother. Also, the cameo from Laura Bailey was a very very nice touch to see in the hospital scene. I always enjoy that. Also, getting the giraffe scene from the game, that scene is so iconic. Then just look at it, a live action, it was beautiful. And that was a real giraffe they took from to filming in a zoo. So it's kind of interesting, but it's such a iconic scene from the game that it did a fantastic job recreating that into live action. I appreciate it. Now, I'm still excited for The Last of Us Part 2, and Season 2 has already been greenlit. I mean, they should definitely do it. The show is such a big hit. They have been ending a lot of HBO shows recently. They're like, this is the story we want to tell, and it's now over. And if I respect that. If they were like, this is only 2 entries, and then maybe Naughty Dog will do another story, and then we'll adapt that story. So the question is for season 2, shall they continue to be faithful to the game? And which I think has really won over a lot of people with the show. Part of the reason it's such a sensation, or should they take the opportunity to make some change to the story, because the second chapter was so divisive even as a game. Should they maybe we shall try and fix a little bit. Lots of interesting discussion here. I'll be curious to see what do you think they shall do for season 2. Now I think that for season 1 they managed to do such a great job, and this shall serve as a blueprint for game adaptations going forward. But I'm curious because they make some change and take big risks with this season 1, but they managed to keep it very faithful to the game also. So we'll see with season 2. I think it's going to be something. I think it's going to be a little different, but we'll see what they make up doing. So those are my thoughts on The Last of Us season finale. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button, consider subscribing to the channel, and thank you for watching. See you guys later.